for muscle to stimulate the three major muscle groups. And insole, we're using scanner. This is much expensive than what Professor Sun said. And we're using the in-foot scanner to get the foot shape. Then to make the insole. Then to combine the insole with the foot model. So the model can give the prediction between foot and contact. So this shows F-scale measurement from our experiment study. This is a FE prediction. So you can see the pattern would be acceptable. The stress on bone, the relative movement. I think the relative movement of bone also is useful information for some treatment. And put the shoe on is very challenging for finite element analysis because shoe and foot using contact, separate body, and the large contact area makes the model very difficult to convergent. And this is a push off. That is a heel strike. Actually, this model developed, I should say, 5 years ago. A little bit later. We have some new model later. And joint angle rotation. So we try to simulate different people, different landing style. Working with the shoe, you can see the stress. We can cut anywhere we want to see the stress. Then we can remove the cover to see the interaction there. We further remove the soft tissue and to see what are the stress within the foot. Then we can cut anywhere we want to see the internal stress distribution. Now, for the femur foot, we also use the same technique to develop a femur foot in the neutral position. Now, if we want to understand the high heel shoe effect, we need to put the foot from the neutral position to the high heel position. That's a little bit challenge for finite element because there are large deformation there. Another thing, many of you did a gait analysis, try to understand the working step, working pattern. So we also do that, try to understand what is the boundary condition, how the working style change with the heel height. Then we know how the external load affected by high heel shoe. I think this is the two major parts we need to solve the problem. Now, we develop model from flight support first. We do the comparison, and then we give a 2-inch high heel, then compare the pressure distribution. Then we change the different heel height, only some plate support. Okay? We not put shoe at this moment. Actually, for the high heel shoe project, we have done for many, many years. But we believe 2 years ago, we only can reach this level. We cannot make the shoe. Now, for the last year, we put the shoe on. We design different sole support. And we can simulate different, this is steel. Most high heel shoe, there's steel here. Okay, how the steel carry the load. Now, this slide try to show the procedure we do the finite element analysis. So the neutral position of the foot, the high heel shoe, then push the force from muscle force to make the foot in this position close to the high heel inclination. Then put the foot shoe together, you can see the shape difference between foot and the shoe. Some area the foot penetrate out of the shoe. Then we use the model to put the foot back to the shoe position. Then we apply external load to simulate different loading conditions. I think the most challenging part is how to transfer from here to here. Upper class can give you this function. Okay, to put some point back to the shoe position. At the same time, you got initial stress. Okay, So I know this procedure is different from downing of the shoe into the downing the foot into shoe. However, that's the only method we can do now. So you can see that. Now we put it there.
Why not you just initially have the foot in the position angles when you construct your final angle?
That's my problem. Initial project I using the neutral position to get the scan. Later found it's very difficult to do that. Better to do from the neutral position, from the high heel position. But there's another problem. You have to go back neutral position to do the comparison. Okay, there are some advantages, disadvantages. You can see the heels drag to push off. To look simple, but remember the all bones will be separated. And let's try to show the high heel working. The pressure distribution. Stress distribution. So this shows the pressure distribution between the shoe and the footwell. Okay. So we have developed this model for many years. We also did a lot of experiments, try to do the comparison. We cannot say validation, but we try to say the model is validated. If the model validates, there are a lot of applications. For example, we use that to change the tissue property to see how those property change affect our load transfer. Because some people say diabetic foot has stiffer soft tissue. If this stiffer tissue affect our load distribution, we did full analysis. You can see with the increase of stiffness. Be careful, our material property is nonlinear, so we only can give full stiffness. And then to see what are the pressure distribution predict during working. Then we can use that to simulate arch, flat arch for the normal. We try to cut or reduce the stiffness of that, try to simulate some kind of flat foot. It's not rare because flat foot is not only caused by low stiffness on that, also other reasons. We also use a model to predict how the insole affect on the plantar pressure distribution. For example, we only change the thickness. What are the pressure distribution? We use that to predict the surgical treatment. For example, one treatment is a joint fusion. If some people got pain around this area, doctor may fuse that. So we develop two different fusion 1 and fusion 2. Then we try to see what are the consequences of those treatments. Here you can see this, how the bone moves, what is the relative movement. Okay, so what are the bone stress distribution under some loading conditions? What are the plantar pressure distribution predicted after operation? We also do some work to check different kind of shoes. For example, this is for MBT, and we scan using CT to scan the MBT shoe. Then we combine this shoe on our model, then to see what are the biomechanical load transmission condition, transfer condition. Now, recently we are doing the dynamic. You know, I think all my present before is based on static model, or people call that quasi-static. That means you can change the load, different loading condition. But for each loading condition in under static situation, then we combine them together. We say that is the working step. Actually, is a static analysis. Now we are doing the dynamic. It's very difficult, particularly for the bone separate. It's a really challenge we are trying out. So so-called dynamic include the dynamic loading, the movement, the velocity, or the viscoelastic material property, and the impact. All those should be considered. And the model generalization, people always ask me question. For last 10 years, you only develop one or two models. How your contribution can help show design? Because different people have a different structure. And we do try to solve this problem. However, it's very cost to do individual process for a model. So we try to do the model generalization. We have a standard model. We have a different either for male, female, flight, or high arch, or half swagging. We try to identify a few typical models. Then, based on this model, we know the internal structure, and we try to find a method to do the generalization to fit for different people. Okay, we also extend our model to the need. Now, that's all my presentation. Maybe give me 1 or 2 minutes to do another advertisement.
Yes.
Okay, in Hong Kong, there are a lot of opportunity for your study or for your job. We have a different program there. Either, I mentioned that last year, you can do the MSc in biomedical engineering, 1.5 year for full-time. Tuition fee is 90,000 Hong Kong dollar. You have to pay because that's a self-finance program. Now, if you say, I want to do research study and fail PhD research student, scholarship is 13.5 thousand Hong Kong dollar per month in the studentship. You earn money in the study. I think that's not bad. You need to pay tuition fee 42,000 per year. Now, recently Hong Kong gave another called Hong Kong Special Hong Kong PhD Studentship. The scholarship is 20K per month, Hong Kong dollar. Tuition will. You don't need to pay any tuition fee. But very complicated because we need some excellent international students.